Hello everyone. Good morning and welcome to our daily live number 10. Today is the last daily live that I will do, and the topic of those daily lives were how to refocus on your business even in times of war. Now, the bad news is that I'm, ending the daily lives, but the good news is that hopefully this means that we are getting back to some kind of war routine. I mean, obviously the war is still going on, and we're still waiting for all our soldiers to come home and all our hostages to come home. This hasn't changed. But on the other hand, we see more and more people who are, getting used to that rhythm and that balance of volunteering and getting back to work and kids going back to school. And life is taking over. It could be sad because we can say, how can we continue when we have so many people that are still waiting for the soldiers to come home, the hostages to come home, and on the other hand, it has to continue. And so, in this last live of the daily lives, I'm going to go over everything that we spoke about until now, so that if you missed one of the days, you can take it from the beginning, or maybe you're already past a certain stage. Yesterday, I heard someone saying that there were four stages. The first stage that we went through, of course, is the stage of shock. We were all really, really shocked with what happened. The second stage was the stage of wow, inspiration, with all the initiatives that are happening, that started to happen, they're still happening, of volunteering and helping. And you can listen to my podcast, the Jewish Women Entrepreneurs Leaders podcast, where I try to highlight and can continue highlighting a few initiatives that I felt were really, really amazing. And then there's the stage of war routine, which is what the stage that I spoke about just before. And the last stage that we're starting to see, and if I could say maybe 10% or 20% of everything that we do, is starting to look at the future, starting to be able at least to consider that there might be something as the future, and to ask ourselves, what is the future like? Whether it's for ourselves, whether it's for our families, for our country, for our people. It's like we went through an earthquake, and now we have to pick up the pieces, and we have to start talking about the future. And actually, this is the topic of the last daily live, to refocus on your business. It's about your vision. This is what we're going to talk about. It's about being able, I don't know about you, but for me, it's been a month. I mean, since the war started, since October 7th, that I haven't been able to project myself in the future, to even see something happening, or to even look at the future, and or even, what is the future? Is it a month? Is it 2 months? Is it a year? Like, where are we going to be? How can we imagine ourselves there? And then it started maybe the beginning of this week, or maybe the end of last week, when we actually decided to go on with a conference in January 2024. And that was somewhere we had to do the exercise of projecting ourselves in January, which is only 12 weeks away, or 11 even. And to remind and to say, okay, are we doing this conference or not? And we decided to do it. And this is what I want to take you today in this daily live. Obviously, the first thing you want to do is not this, because it's hard to project yourself, and it's hard to look at the future. But this is the exercise that you want to do. It's not because something is hard that we don't try to do it. Maybe we won't be able to do it, but at least we try. And this exercise is to see what happened, whether you're in Israel or around the world, whether you're still grieving or you're ready to go back to work. This is a question that's good for, whether that's good for everyone who has been impacted, who is part of the Jewish people. And I speak more specifically today to women who are entrepreneurs, because when you are entrepreneur, your project is yourself, and you have to give the tone, you have to give the direction, you have to decide where it's going to go. And so it could be, and type in the chat if this is you, but it could be that this earthquake is changing things for you. It could be that it's making you things, think things differently, or look at your business differently. And I'm not only talking about the reality of the fact that, if you were only selling in Israel, for example, you have to go global, or if you were only selling, in person, you have to go online. We spoke about those strategies yesterday, by the way. In day number 9, we spoke about the different strategies that you can scale and leverage your business because of the war. I'm more talking about, there's a concept that I call the born to do. My company is called the Born to Do business. And so I'm more talking about what you're born to do. Is it changing your mission? Is it not changing it altogether, but is it fine tuning it? Are you looking at something different? Are you seeing that your mission or your purpose is different? Do you want to bring on another aspect to your business? So I'll give you an example from me, because I think that it's the one that I can speak about the best. And I also have some clients that are going through those questions. It's about, I have my Born to Do business. I'm a business mentor. I have clients, I have programs, I help them scale, hire their team, work on their systems and strategy and leveraging. And I love what I do. I really do. I think it's, I don't think, because that's what I'm doing, but I love helping, especially women entrepreneurs, be successful in their business. And then I also have the nonprofit, right? The Global Network for Jewish Women Entrepreneurs and Leaders, whom you probably know because you're here. We're doing monthly networking meetups. We just yesterday had our weekly support meetup because of the war. We're going to have the conference. We're having chapter leaders. We're having so much more happening around the global network. And for me, what happened is a shift for me. And if, I had a shift also during Corona, as I'm sure you all did, and type in the chat if this is resonating with you. I did have a shift during the Corona where I realized that I wanted to help specifically Jewish women entrepreneurs. Before that, I was officially helping everyone, but in reality, helping only Jewish women. And now it feels like the question that I'm asking myself with what happened is, how can I help the Jewish people? This is what is really, occupying my thoughts. And how can I be an agent of change? How can I? Where's my place, my role? What is my little contribution, the little piece of I don't know what, that I can help to make sure. I'm not going to say that this never happens again, because as we can see, we can't say that anymore. But at least to make sure that we continue to be proud to be Jewish, that we continue to be connected to our Jewish identity, that we understand what it means to be connected to our Jewish identity, that we understand what are those Jewish values that are part of our DNA, just like we see now, in Israel and around the world, people helping, people contributing, people getting together, people volunteering, help donating their time, of their money, making sandwiches, sending food for soldiers, helping the families that have been evacuated. I mean, it's countless. It's like amazing. This is part of our DNA. This is who the Jewish people is. It breaks my heart when I see that other people around the world don't see that. But then I don't let it break me or my spirit, right? Because too bad if you can't see what the Jewish people is about, whether they're in Israel or around the world, then I'm gonna continue being myself, and we as a Jewish people, we're gonna continue being ourselves, but we're not gonna, try to convince you or try to show you that we're good people. I mean, at least that's my position now. I feel like there's so much to do with our people, that I don't want to waste my time. I mean, of course, we can, if you're, doing activism and you're, defending, and you have all the hasbara, which is explaining what Israel, what the Jewish people, I believe in that very much so. But I also want to make sure that I'm connecting to my Jewish people, not because it looks like this or like that, but only because this is who I am, and this is part of my soul. This is part of who I am, in my DNA. And when we started, and I'm telling you all this because the connection to that vision of your greater self, of who you want to be. If I always ask this question to people when we do coaching sessions, and I say, if everything was possible, if you didn't have any restrictions of money and no chance of failure, okay, those are the two conditions. Like, you have no restriction of resources. You can have all the money and the team and the help and all the resources are there, and you have no chance of failing. You're sure that you're going to be successful. What would you want to do? What would you want to do? And how is what happened in the last few weeks changing this vision that you have of your future self? It is important not to miss that moment where you ask yourself that question, because there is, like I said, a moment in the beginning where you're not able to see that. You're not able to project yourself in the future, or even I mean, for me, and I think a lot of people went through the same, is everything is dark, right? Like, the walls are, you feel like the doors are closing, the walls are just getting darker and closer, and you feel like there's no solution, no hope, not for you, not for the Jewish people, not for Israel. You feel like all the doors are closing. And I think that we all felt that when everything was happening, and was so devastating. But then, little by little, because life goes on, and because you have to continue, and because we have that survival ability and that resilience that so many people are talking about, then we start, slowly but surely, with, still still hurting, still very heavy, with a heart that's heavy, and still thinking about everyone who is fighting for us and everyone who's not come back home yet. But we're still, like, we're getting up a little bit, and we're, like, looking, and we're seeing, and life continues, and days go by, and weeks go by, and months go by, and life continues, and life continues. And so we have to ask ourselves the question, who am I going to be in the next few weeks, few months, few years? How am I looking at this vision and looking at it now and getting inspired by it and saying, okay, so if this is where I want to go and this is who I want to be, then reverse engineer to today, to what does it mean? What do I have to do today then, or tomorrow, or next week? How do I plan this? Now, some of you may have a strategic mind, and that's great, because that's exactly what we're doing. We're doing strategy here. And some of you may not. And that's why I'm going to give you a little, tips. I actually have a whole process written around that, of how do we really start a strategic project? How do we even envision a strategic project? And this is what I think we need to do now. And again, go back to the previous days, because I speak a lot about self-care and routines and financial security and money generating activities and I speak a lot about how do you make sure that everything is secure and safe, and that you have done everything that you're supposed to do as a person, but also as a business owner, to be able to make room in your mind for, seeing the future, seeing the vision. Because as long as you're worried about day-to-day stuff, or you're not sleeping well, or you're not eating well, or you're not taking care of your finances, or you're not sure what you're selling today or tomorrow, or you don't have visibility on your next 2 months revenue, then you won't have room or availability in your brain to be able to project yourself in the future. So if what I'm saying now seems like out of the blue, like how can I think about the future, then it means that you need to go back into the previous 9 sessions that we had for the last 2 weeks, and really take it step by step. And then you'll see that once the ground under your feet is stronger, and once you've established, that everything around you, your loved ones, the people your money, your clients, your business, everything is taken care of, I mean, as much as you can, of course, then you can sit down and say, okay, now I'm with myself, I'm back to, the full circle. And how is everything that happened changing the way I look at myself, the way I look at my business, the way I look at my mission and my born to do? And I think a lot of people are asking themselves this question in a very natural way. It's not even like, oh, I have to do it. It just happens because we need meaning. We need, Viktor Frankl, I decided that I want to reread his book, The Search for Meaning, who was in the concentration camp in Auschwitz, and had the resilience and the amazing ability to think about meaning during his time, the most horrible time, and that's according to him what saved him. And I feel, I mean, again, we can't compare, or people are comparing, but it's just suffering, and it's just situations that are so extreme that you are connected to the meaning of life, to the meaning of the world, to the meaning of your life, to why you're here, right? And type in the chat whether you're here now or you are listening to the replay. I would love to hear if this is something that's resonating. I know that for me, again, after having taken care of everything around me and doing what I can to help, this is what keeps me up at night. The suffering, and this, the suffering of other people, saying, if I'm feeling like that when I don't have anyone, at the front, or I don't have any person that is missing, I don't have anyone as an hostage, how could people who are all that on top of that feel, be able to think and function? That's the first thing, that I can't sleep, and I'm sure that a lot of people are in the same situation. And the next thing is, so what? So now what? Right? So now what? What is the next step for me? What is the next step? Where do I want to take this? And I think that when we started talking about the conference, and we decided to leave the conference, something interesting shifted in me, because, as you know, the conference is for Jewish women entrepreneurs, and I'm telling you this because I want to show you the process that you might also be going through without being able to describe it, or maybe you can, and I would love to hear it. But I think that for me, the process, when I realized that the conference topic was leadership, Jewish leadership for women entrepreneurs, I realized that it was time for me, and maybe for a lot of people, to stop looking inside and to look outside, like to be able to project ourselves on how can we not only be stronger or more aligned and have this whole connection working, and have a successful business and be fulfilled and take care of ourselves and our loved ones and our self-care and everything we know that an entrepreneur has to do, and do our sales and our marketing, and be empowered, and all of this is great. But then I saw right away that all of this has to serve something bigger. Like all of those entrepreneurs, all of you, me, all of the Jewish women entrepreneurs who are working so hard to have a successful business, to be fulfilled, to work on their marketing and their sales and their alignment, and to work on being empowered. The end goal of this is so that they can serve better as Jewish leaders. And so that's where I saw that the conference was exactly where we needed it to be, because once you have gathered all those strength and all those resources, and once you are aligned and empowered, what do you do with this? What do you do with this this bowl of energy, or this what you do with it is that you put it at the service of something bigger than you. And for me now, the something bigger than me is the Jewish people, is the Jewish leadership, is the Jewish value, it's our Jewish identity. It's how do we find our place in this ecosystem, but how can we also make sure that we invite others inside? Now, this is for me, and I'm sharing with you my vision. But it's time for you to, once you've done all the 10 steps of each day that we've laid out for you, that I've laid out for you in the past 2 weeks, it's really about asking yourself the question, what is my vision? How is my greater self? What is it looking like? Who do I want to be? What do I want to be spending my day doing? How do I project myself and say, okay, this is who I want to be. This is what I want to be doing. This is, who I want to work with. This is who I want to serve. This is what I want to sell. This is, the message that I want to be sharing. And then once you see that, and it could be a vision in 5 years, it could be 2 years, it could be 6 months. You don't have to put numbers into it, but ask yourself the question, if, again, the same question, if I had all the resources and I couldn't fail, where would I want to be, in the long term? And then once you have that answer, you want to reverse engineer and say, okay, if this is who I want to be, if this is who I want to serve, if this is, the priorities that I want to have in my life, if this is the values that I want to represent, then I need today to, go back into my business and maybe make some changes, maybe fine tune the target market that I'm working with. Maybe leverage the offer. Maybe make it different. Maybe so. Yesterday we spoke about strategies, right? We spoke about 4 different strategies. We spoke about the going online, the going global, the going into groups, and the passive income, right? 4 ideas that you can make in your business to make more money, to leverage what you're already doing. But here we're going a step further or deeper, which is we're not only fine tuning our strategy because it's going to make more money or it's leveraging what we already do, but we are doing it because it's connected to our vision, our long term vision. I'll give you an example. If part of your long term vision is to reach more people, not only because you want to make more money, but also because you want to have more impact or you want to contribute to more people, then the strategy of going one-on-one, the strategy we spoke about of moving from one-on-one to groups, is not only the right strategy as a scaling and leveraging your business, but it's also the right strategy for you because it's going to help you reach your goal and align with your mission. And so that's where the business strategy is connected with your alignment. And I personally don't think that there are no other ways to grow a business or to scale a business, but then looking at your alignment and using your business to serve this alignment. I'll give you another example. If you have something that is very important for you to do, whether it's a hobby or whether it's a volunteering or it's taking care of your family, or if you need a lot of time basically, and you don't want to spend your whole time making money, okay, then passive income might be the strategy that you're going to choose because you have to be aligned with everything else, with the lifestyle that you want to have. Maybe you want to have a lifestyle where you work less, where you're more connected to yourself, where you take care of your loved ones, or it's a different lifestyle, right? And so the motivation to do passive income is going to come from the alignment that you need between you and yourself, and not the other way around, right? It's not, oh, I'm going to do passive income and then, oh, I'll have the lifestyle that goes with it, right? And the same goes also for global, right? I know, for example, that I love traveling and I love discovering other cultures, especially discovering the Jewish history in different parts of the world. And I know that it's so important for me to understand where we come from, the different aspect of our history. It's such a fascinating history, going back to to the beginning of times, basically. And to see how since the beginning Jewish people were continuing to have those traditions, the same ones that we have today. I was just in Germany, and we went through we had the global Jewish tour, which is what I called us going through with a mobile home, and it was just amazing to see the history of Jewish people in different parts of the world. And so because I love that, because this is who I am, then going global is just a natural strategy for me. If I didn't have that, that passion, then I would not necessarily use the global strategy for my business. So the way I want you to look at it is I want you to look at it from a perspective of 2 things that are meeting in the middle, right? So first, of course, you have what's possible in your business, which are the different strategies that we spoke about yesterday, but there could be more. And those are technical business strategies to make you make more money, and leverage what you already do. And then there is the alignment to your born to do. And the alignment to your born to do is who you are, what are your values, what is your passion, where are you drawn to naturally. I always, when we do the born to do discovery process, I speak about what are the books that you read, that you want to read, or that are on your nightstand. What are the research that you do naturally on Google or YouTube? What are the videos that you watch when you don't have to do anything? What are the people that you're inspired by? So all of these are giving you indications of who you are, what are your values, and what's important for you, and what are your priorities. And that, the more you're going to align to this, the more you're going to be successful, not only in your business, but also in your life, because your natural drive is bringing you to that. So it's really important to align the two. I mean, there's your alignment, but also to align the potential strategies with where you are naturally already going, where your feet are already going. And sometimes, and that's when we're misaligned. We have our feet going in a certain direction, but we with in our mind, we're building other directions that are not connected to our business. So I'll give you an example. I have sometimes clients who want to grow and who want to make have a bigger impact, make more money, and so they see the results in other people that have grown before them, and they see that they've hired people. So for example, I'll take a client of mine who is a healer, and she had she thought that she had a dream of having a whole healing center to help more people. That was her motivation. And then when we went into the business plan of this healing center, I showed her, not because I thought it was a good idea, but because I wanted her to be aware of that if she would go towards that direction, then she would be moved naturally to a place of more managing people, or managing teams, or managing, getting the fundraising for the healing center, or taking care of the sales or the financial aspect. And then she asked me, she said, but when am I going to be in touch with my patients, my clients, to help them heal what I do today? And I was like, well, you're going to hire people to do that for you. That's how you're going to leverage your time and your money. And that's how you'll make more money and you'll reach more people. And then all of a sudden she was like, but I don't want to. I don't want to be managing a team and managing people and projects and financials and the whole business aspect. So I was like, well, then maybe a healing center is not the right direction. Or maybe a healing center, but with hiring a CEO where you keep your passion alive. So what I'm saying is, when you're stretching your vision and you get to a package that seems like, oh, it's working for others, I'm going to do this, and this is your head projecting, you also have to see where your feet are going, because your feet are going in the true directions. Your feet are going where you really want to go. Your head might be going where you think there's more money, or where you think there's more impact, or what you saw with others, which might not be aligned with where your feet want to go. And so that's why I think that now is the right time to really, while we'll still, we still have absorbed everything that happened. It's still quite fresh, but it's not burning like it's not burning like it was like so fresh that it's still burning and you can't even think, right? I mean, we're still hurting, but our mind is starting to wrap ourselves, around what's happening. And now is the time to see, like, how is this changing my long-term vision? How is this changing my future self? What I thought I was, what my vision was before October 7th, and how, if it has not changed, then perfect. How do I adapt it to what I do now? But if it has changed, what are the steps that I need to take now that are going to really take me into the right direction? I know I'm doing this because I feel like this was an earthquake that has changed so much in how I see the world, and how I see my priorities, and how I see my values, and how I want to spend my time. There's so much that has changed. And so I need to have that conversation with myself with, okay, let's realign. Let's see what is important, where do I want to take this, how do I want to use my time, my resources, to get to that vision. And again, I always say when we do this exercise, that you look at your vision from where you are today, and it might change because, as you see, we're not in control of what's happening. And so it could be that in 6 months from now it might change, but that's okay. You're doing it from where you are now. And like I always say, you are in the spiral, right? And when you're in the spiral, you can imagine or visualize that you are inside the spiral, like your alignment is inside the spiral, and your life is going around it. And so you're revisiting the same topics, but at a different level. So your vision is one of the topics that you're always going to revisit, and you're going to maybe look at it from a different perspective or from a higher leverage perspective. And so it's okay. We're all on this spiral and we'll have to adapt. But right now is a good time for you to, once everything is safe around you, I believe is the right time to ask ourselves those questions. So I wanted to end those daily lives with an opening to the future and hope that even if we don't see it now, two things. One is everything that we went through until now was to give us the strength to go beyond what happened. I really believe that. I really believe that we're giving, as a people and also as individuals, we're giving the tools that we need before we're faced with the challenge. And so I really believe that we have we have the resources. Whether we're able to use them or not, that's another question. But we have the resources as a people, as a country, as individuals. We have all the resources that we need to go through this challenge. And the second thing is that this challenge, this war, this horrible things that has been happening since October 7th, on October 7th, and since then, is somehow, and maybe you don't see it, maybe I don't see it yet totally, but somehow it's here to, we're going to have to use it to grow. And again, as individuals, as people, as a country, and we're going to see changes, and we're going to see changes. And it's going to be transformed into something that we could not imagine before. Just like we could not imagine October 7th, and we cannot imagine how this is going to help us go through this transformation. So I'm here. Re-listen to all the daily lives if you need to, because they're really helping you going through the steps one after the other. If you have any questions, you know where to reach me, whether on Facebook or by email or my private message, or you'll find me. And I'm here to hold your hand through that process. I'm going through the same process. Don't think that I'm saying things that I'm really in the middle. I'm not saying anything that you don't know, and I'm just trying to structure it so that it's something that you can digest and that you can implement easy. It's easier to implement. And we'll be in touch because we have the conference coming up. We still have the bi-weekly meetups, and I'm still going to interview as many people as I can on my podcast to give more exposure and highlight to the amazing initiatives that are happening. Stay safe, take care of yourself, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now.